in this video, we will be watching a live stream from the Scentsy owners. I will share my commentary and opinions about this desperate attempt to retain consultants. So if that interests you, please stay tuned. Thank you so much for supporting my previous Scentsy video where we talk about the Scentsy changes for 2025 and why this MLM is crumbling. If you haven't seen it, I will leave it at the end of this video if you want to check it out. In my previous Scentsy video, I had someone who brought this live to my attention. Shout out to this person, you know who you are. So I found this live on Facebook. This is for YouTube. This video was posted publicly and these people are public figures. Sharing this again at the beginning in case some Scentsy reps don't stay until the end of the video. I want all the Scentsy reps to know that your feelings are very valid and you have all the right to feel the way you want to feel with these changes. Don't let anybody gaslight you and make you believe that these changes are not as bad or positive in any way. If you don't see my whole video but want to continue having a business, I recommend you to at least watch Margaret's video at the end of my previous Scentsy video. You don't need Scentsy. For people who are not familiar with Scentsy, they are an MLM, aka multi-level marketing company, and their core products are its warmers and wax bars. According to the FTC, MLMs are businesses that involve selling products to family and friends and recruiting other people to do the same. The issue with MLMs is that according to statistics, the FTC and the same MLM's income disclosure statements, the majority of people involved in MLMs either lose money or end up in debt. They are also known as commercial cults because of the manipulation tactics that MLMs use to convince people to join and to stay. This was a long video, so if you want to see it in full, I encourage you to check Julie Anderson's video since I will only be covering a few of the things in this video. You guys know that I have zero respect for MLM CEOs and MLM owners because they know exactly what they're doing. Now, let's go with the video.
So some of you may be looking for things that we won't be able to deliver. And some of you may find some things that you weren't expecting that you're going to really like. But we just want to spend some time with you, share about what has happened in January, the good things that have happened in January, share some context about Scentsy. Many of you might be really meeting us for the first time.
That's what I was just thinking, is that there are probably a lot of you on this call that don't really know Heidi and Orville and Heidi.
You are the owners of an MLM. That's all I need to know.
And so we hope that through a little bit through this call that you get to know us and our hearts.
And here's kind of an interesting thing about life that I've learned is it's really hard to please everybody. And trying is just a waste of time. So be yourself, but be the best version of yourself and improve every day. And you'll have enough people that love you. And those that don't, they have lots of people to love and they can go find them if they have the capacity to love. Sometimes people just don't have the capacity to love.
Who are the people who don't have the capacity to love? Are they by any chance your customers or consultants who are voicing their opinions about the most recent Scentsy changes? Is it the anti-MLM movement who are holding MLMs accountable? Who are those people? In my opinion, this is a cold tactic that MLMs use to divide people into us versus them. If they don't support Scentsy, they don't have the capacity to love or are haters on the internet, even when all we are doing is giving MLMs valid criticism.
And all they can do is hate. So with them, you just bless and release.
Bless and release. I love that.
Yeah. After doing your best, what more can you do?
Which I might just share a story with you right here, right now. And I'm going to cry.
I'll cry, baby.
You know.
It's one of my favorite parts. She cannot hide her emotions.
It has to do with bless and release. And maybe I haven't done that fully. So, but before we left on our mission, and a little bit too, this tells a little bit why I haven't been on the calls a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because before we left on our mission, somebody sent an anonymous letter to our home addressed to me and very hateful, very, very rude, and obviously anonymous because they weren't gutsy enough or brave enough to say it to my face. But how they didn't like my wahoos on the end of month live, and I don't know.
They were rude about your mother?
Yeah, they even said stuff about my mother who was dead, and how she was annoying, or I don't even remember what the words were. I just remember that receiving that letter, and so bless and release. I bless and release whoever wrote that letter, and I invite you to get off this call if you're on the call, and if you don't like my wahoos, I invite you to leave.
First of all, if that story is even true, it's not okay to talk about someone's mother or any family member for that matter. Second, can we talk about her crying with no tears? I believe this is just a very pathetic attempt to cause sympathy with the people watching them because they know that they have a lot of consultants and customers who are very upset with these recent changes. Third, if you want to continue on social media, lady, you should have a thicker skin because there are so many people online that can be very cruel. And you're not the only person who suffers from that. Any person on social media has people sending them mean messages. In the end, she says that she blessed and released this person, but it's obvious that you haven't released it because if that were the case, you would not be bringing that story up every chance you have. So people feel sorry for you.
So it is Scentsy. It is something that we started 20 years ago. We're very proud of it. And I can't even tell you how many lives have been blessed through Scentsy. And we receive letters.
And I think that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
And it's what keeps the home office going. And we've got some really good things happening.
Yes. So let's talk about January.
So first, one of the things that is really difficult, particularly in a momentum business, Scentsy's a momentum business. Direct selling in general is a momentum business. And belief about the potential opportunities that you will have or the future opportunities that you will have dictate a lot of what your feelings about your business are, about the business in general, about the sales channel in general. And during difficult times, it's easy to say, there's a problem with the channel, there's a problem with my company, there's a problem with this course that I'm pursuing.
But there is a problem with the channel. MLMs are crumbling. If you want to continue in denial, that is your problem. And I'm not the one saying this. Other MLM CEOs are saying this. Maybe you want to pay attention to what they have to say?
The bottom line is this. Many consumers don't want to support multi-level marketing companies. The anti-MLM conversation on social media is rampant. We've seen all the anti-MLM, including Reddit thread, which more than 800,000 plus followers have joined in. Data is clear that the multi-level marketing business model is not a viable long-term option for pure romance. This is both in response to the disruption and the regulatory changes by the Federal Trade Commission that have continued to happen in the multi-level marketing space and the expectations of today's customer.
Same time that we were witnessing other networks changing their models and thinking like, surely there must be a way to work through this. I mean, I even made a video about our commitment to our partners that we've got to find a way to invent our way through this. But the reality is the current model is broken and antiquated. The network marketing model just isn't working. But for the last several years, network marketing has faced growing headwinds from regulatory and social media attacks and ongoing cultural scrutiny. But we're facing significant legal and regulatory threats to the critical independent contractor relationship between the company and the field. And now, there's even the threat by the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, to completely ban making any income claims over a few $100s a year in network marketing. Even worse, some regulators and state attorneys general are starting to push for a ban of multi-level marketing altogether.
And, while we admit that direct selling isn't for everybody, there is a very specific place that direct selling occupies in entrepreneurship, in the business opportunity realm. And it is different, I think, than what a lot of people from the outside might think it to be, or people who get into a direct selling company and then get disillusioned might think it to be. One of the fundamental parts of a direct selling company is the community that is created. That's one of the main reasons people will join and stay, is because, yes, they're looking for extra income. Yes, they love the products and they want to share them with their friends. But if they don't find a community that they love and feel loved in, then they don't stay. And so that community is critically important, and momentum from a sales perspective will help that community. And when momentum is against you, or when the winds are blowing against you, then it's really hard for that community to hold together because people start to point fingers and attack one another.
If people want community, there are so many other groups that people can join where the community is sincere and it's not just transactional and only when they can get something from you. Because as we know, as soon as you leave your MLM, the community is gone. And the reason is that they can no longer benefit from you. So in the majority of the cases, they want nothing to do with you. So what type of community does that? You only see that in MLMs.
Okay, so let's go move on with the good news. You ready?
January is there's a lot of
It's showing
seeds
momentum.
of momentum,
Yes,
right?
yes.
There's some changes that are happening.
Okay. At leadership too. Maybe we're going to talk about it or record a video, the message that we gave everyone at leadership, because it's actually something that we used on the mission with the missionaries, and the mission took off. The momentum built, and the mission is on fire right now. And
Missionaries are happy and the work is productive. And yeah, so it's based really on principles that were introduced to us through the book, The Boys in the Boat. Now, if you've seen the movie,
you got to read the book.
Yeah,
the book is better.
The book is where the philosophy is laid out.
They actually don't, in the movie, they actually don't even really expound on what we talked about. They say the word swing one time.
And swing is this thing that happens in rowing when the boat feels like it is taking off, it's carrying itself, where work or the effort and the fatigue kind of gives way to exaltation because all rowers in the boat are in such perfect unison that the boat takes off. So we talked a little bit about that at leadership, about how we can keep our mind in the boat, focused on what we're doing, and being in a championship boat requires championship effort. But the rewards of being in a championship boat are phenomenal because you have that community that you need so much, and your life goes in directions that brings you and those around you more and more joy. And if you're not in sync with others, it's really hard to get ahead, right? You're always fighting against somebody at some time for some reason. So eliminating that negativity, finding your people, getting in rhythm is what creates momentum. And we'll expound on that, put out a video talking about what we talked about at leadership. We'll get that done this month.
This is a problem that we often see with MLMs, the toxic positivity. And they want you not to be negative or be with negative people. The issue with toxic positivity is that when there are red flags, you are not going to be able to spot them because you're living in a world of toxic positivity. There's nothing wrong with having quote unquote negative emotion. That's part of life. I recently shared the following on my Instagram regarding toxic positivity from a mental health expert.
Psychology tip of the day from a licensed therapist. If you have grown up making the best of things, seeing the best in things, it may push you towards like a delusional amount of like optimism and seeing the world with rose-colored glasses. This is literally my experience. And that means that we're not seeing clearly. That means that we're focusing on the good at the expense of being blind to the bad. We can't do that. And if you did that as a child, it may have helped you. It may have literally been like a survival mechanism. But as an adult, it's a liability because then you can't see the evil coming. You have to open your eyes completely and see the good and the bad and then really make a judgment. Are they good for me? Do I want this in my life? Does this represent me? Or do I want to be healthy and happy? Are they good or are they bad? Or are they a little bit of both? Like you really need to see that. You need to open your eyes.
Yes, we invite you all to be a part of that boat that is going to row for gold. We invite you. So any who want to come along.
So we've talked about Scentsy's history a little bit, and Scentsy had a pretty, from the outside, like a crazy start. Like it seemed for people that weren't around those first few years that we launched and it was all sales and rainbows.
But it wasn't.
we grew very quickly.
We did.
Even though...
But it wasn't easy.
Yeah, we were tripping all over ourselves in doing so. There was one time I remember in 2005, we had just published our catalog, and we found out that all of the warmers that we had just published into the catalog wouldn't be available until January.
And not just like a few of them. We're saying every single warmer was not going to be available. So
consultants would go to a home party, they'd show the warmers, and they would say, they won't be available till January. Now, this was in like October.
Yeah.
And what we ended up doing is we had a gift certificate So consultants were essentially selling a gift certificate. But during that period of time, Scentsy grew like 4 or 5x in that catalog run. That means on average, every consultant added 5 people to her team, on average. That wasn't because the execution from the home office was spectacular.
No.
I mean, that was horrible execution.
I'm sure some of you here remember that year.
But that growth was because people believed that the future was going to be bright for them. That Scentsy had what it took to deliver exponential change in their life. And those that couldn't handle that disruption left. And those that could are the ones that a lot of new consultants say, well, they had it easy. Because now they are superstar directors with large teams.
In my opinion, this is so manipulative because they're sharing the story to show how the Scentsy consultants in 2005 believed that the future was going to be bright for them. And because they believe they were rewarded with 4 to 5x growth and are now superstar directors with large teams. So the consultants who hear this can say, well, I'm going to stay through these changes and also believe that I will be rewarded in the future. So fucking manipulative. These clowns should be ashamed of themselves. We saw the same narrative in the Young Living video for changes for 2025 when Mary Young, the owner of Young Living, also talked about how reps in the past stayed and stuck with the company and were rewarded. I believe it's the same manipulative narrative from MLM owners to convince their reps to stay with them for a longer time and not quit. Cult behavior is predictable.
In 2013, Gary and I changed to our current compensation plan. We were on a path that was unsustainable, and without the change, Young Living would have imploded. With this change, we knew that many of our top-ranking leaders were going to see a temporary dip in their commission earnings. So Gary decided to allocate a small percentage of total commissionable sales to the diamonds as the diamond leadership bonus to help them through the transition more smoothly. With the change, our business began to grow with more excitement than ever before, and within a year, most of the leaders saw their commission earnings surpass anything they had received before the change.
In my opinion, she's painting a previous scenario where they made changes to the comp plan, and within a year, according to her, the earnings surpassed anything they had received before the change. So that reps who are listening to this think that the same thing is going to happen this time. That is how I interpret what she is saying. And in my opinion, what she is implying here, I feel it very manipulative. If that story is even true, that doesn't mean that the same is going to happen this time. Because first of all, in 2013, there were barely any anti-MLM content creators on social media. The MLM awareness was not there, or at least not as it is right now. So it is very of Mary to believe that by changing the comp plan, everything is going to be okay. This is my opinion. The only reason why Young Living hasn't collapsed is because of their size. If this was a smaller MLM, we would have already seen them close their doors. But according to the same Mary, they have been operating at a loss for some time now. So it's just a matter of time before they either go affiliate or close their doors. And you know what? I'm here for it. My thoughts are the same as in the Young Living video. Back in 2005 was a very different time. The anti-MLM movement was not a thing, and consumer awareness was not there. Just take a look at the following chart. This is a pro MLM website, and look at the numbers. Negative 24% in revenue difference. But these clowns want to continue gaslighting their consultants with future faking. And for the people who don't know what future faking is a tactic whereby people lure you into thinking they are planning a wonderful future with you. Their vision of the future may make you feel optimistic about and bonded with them, but in the end, there may only be a whole lot of faking going on, as they may not be dedicated to or even believe in this future themselves. Their main or perhaps only objective is to use the promises of the future to get you to do something for them in the present. In this case, to continue staying in Scentsy. Just like the same future faking with Mary, to continue staying with Young Living.
And that wasn't the only time. We had another year, I think, where we launched. Is that the one you're talking about? Where we launched a new software and nothing worked?
2009.
Yeah. So we had another year, yeah.
So we were growing really fast. And what was interesting is we'd do the math on the at the end of with all the sales data. And on a big day, which was, a few 100,000 in sales, at the end of the month, it would take us 24 hours, more than 24 hours to get the data from our accounting software from our point of sales software into the accounting software. And as we were looking at our growth, we realized that within 3 or 4 months, every day was going to be bigger than that. So it would take more than 24 hours to get 24 hours worth of data into our accounting software, and we knew that was going to break. So we had to launch a new
Software.
And we had to do it quick. And sometimes when you do it quick, you don't do it right. And boy, did we not do it right. So we launched the software and sales went into like oblivion. They just were gone. We had no idea what people were ordering. We had money going into our account. We had no idea where it was coming from, where it was going.
Items got double shipped, triple shipped.
Consultants would call up, hey, I got
crazy.
this order for the third
Crazy.
time. What do you want me to do with the product? At that time, we were growing so fast. Product was flowing in. And we spent, and we were in a big company at the time, 2009, let's see,
You remember about that
about 165 million in sales, about a third of the size we are now. And I remember spending in that catalog season, I think $7 or $8 million in air freight shipments and double shipments and paying overtime. And, but during that period of time, we grew 400 or 500%.
Well, and wasn't that the year that we paid out like $7 million?
Yeah.
I mean, no profit whatsoever.
So we spent all of our profit taking care of consultants. They'd call up and say, my order's not here. What was in it?
Yeah.
We just trusted it and we sent it out.
We also had another year where we had just hired on Mark Stastny.
Yeah, it was his first day at work.
It was his first day at work, and we got a notice that all of a certain kind of warmer that we carried at the time.
Yeah, every warmer that we had sold in our first 2.5 years.
Yes, were going to be recalled. Every single one.
So, hey, Mark, welcome to your job. Let's figure out this crisis.
How do we work through this? Yeah.
And we worked through it. Now, the reason we talk about these things is
growing is hard. Yes.
A lot of people think that a company is doing well when there aren't hiccups, when there aren't problems.
He is correct. All companies go through hiccups and problems. That's, part of it. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a common pattern where MLMs are crumbling. MLMs are closing their doors. MLMs are changing to an affiliate or omnichannel model. MLM CEOs from other companies saying that, and I quote, the current model is broken. The network marketing model just isn't working. The multi-level marketing business model is not a viable long-term option, end quote. If that was not enough, we got the same Scentsy revenue in the previous chart, which shows that their numbers are going down. If these clowns want to continue living in their own little world, that's up to them, but the reality is very different and the numbers don't lie.
The reality is, if you're not making a mistake here or there, you're not really trying hard enough. If you stay within your comfort zone to where you can execute at 100%, you're not finding your edge.
I would say at that point you have no vision because
That's right.
you're not finding your edge. So
And
the outside of the edge.
improvement requires finding your edge.
Yeah.
It's in weightlifting. It's the same in any type of physical
Well, and with
activity. It's the same
weightlifting,
in
they say like fatigue your muscles. So you have to go outside the box to fatigue yourself.
Yeah. Now, this becomes particularly challenging if you are in a position, or if you're in the midst of everything. So like if you're in the jungle or in the forest, we'll say the forest because few of us live in jungles. If you're in the middle of the forest and you're surrounded by trees, it's very difficult to see the whole forest. You know the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees.
But if you really think about it, you are only seeing a little bit of the forest.
That's right.
You're only seeing a small portion where you're standing.
Yeah. From the home office's perspective and from Heidi's and my perspective, because of our understanding of what all of your businesses are doing, who's succeeding, who's struggling, why those that are succeeding, why those that are struggling, we understand a lot about what's going on in your personal life, about the struggles you're dealing with. And a lot of people think that we might just be disconnected, but you could not be farther from the truth.
Oh, you are definitely disconnected, in my opinion. Because if you were seeing the reality, you would know that these changes are not realistic and they don't benefit the consultants or the customers.
We understand these things, but we also see things with a much broader perspective. And what we like to say is, Scentsy is always playing business chess.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
We're seeing moves 5 or 6 moves out. Why? Is it because we're smarter than everybody else? No.
I truly believe these clowns think they're smarter than everyone else. All cult leaders think they're smarter than everyone else. And the 5 moves out comment are so freaking disgusting. If you were able to see 5 moves out, you would be closing the MLM site because according to my previous Scentsy video, Dan's chart showed that 75% of consultants were inactive. How is it that you cannot see your MLM rumbling when you have 75% of consultants inactive? How?
It's because at the home office, and particularly as owners and stewards of the brand, we see a broader view. And because we see that broader view, we can look at moves 5 or 6 moves out and come backwards to decide what needs to happen now.
Yes.
I think Stephen Covey talked about it's one of the 7 habits. Begin with the end in mind, and then you work backwards.
And if you think, I mean, every business needs to make adjustments or they're out of business. So sometimes we have to make quick decisions also, very quick.
Yeah, so in January, the rough stuff in January, and then the good stuff. So we had to make a couple of changes that a lot of people are frustrated about, and then they kind of digest it, they understand it. And I think for the most part, everybody gets everything except maybe one change that we made, and they don't really understand that. So we'll probably clear that up a little bit. But just to let you know, we changed the activity requirement from 200 PRV to 250 PRV. And that's going to be a little bit of a stretch. Might be a big stretch for some people. But if we don't stretch, we don't grow.
Very true.
And if you don't grow individually, then Scentsy doesn't grow as a whole. And if Scentsy doesn't grow as a whole, then we lose momentum. As we lose momentum, we lose community. As we lose community, the point of being in business and joining a business goes away. So we have to stretch you enough that you will find your edge and you will grow for you to actually enjoy your experience with Scentsy.
The consultants don't need you to stretch them. Why don't you stretch? Why do the consultants have to be the ones that stretch just a little more? It's your company after all. Whatever happens to it, it's your responsibility, not the consultants. Why not bring the costs down? Why not look for a different provider who has more accessible prices? So many things that can be done, and these clowns who say they're always 5 moves out cannot see any other way than screwing the consultants and customers, in my opinion. What kind of business owners are you? Instead of taking accountability and responsibility, they just expect the consultants to pay the price. These two are fucking sick.
So every year inflation happens, and every year we don't make changes at Scentsy. We haven't made changes at Scentsy, and so I guess it's kind of we're catching up.
Yeah, there's always a catch-up year. I mean, think about it this way. In 100 years from now, a light bulb is going to cost $200.
I hope not, but
right?
I hope not.
It'll adjust to
yes.
where a light bulb is $200. And if your requirement to be active at Scentsy was only to sell 1 light bulb, it wouldn't make sense. We wouldn't have a business, right? So there always has to be these adjustments. It started at 150 in 2004. Around 2014, as we were looking to renew again, we were going through our first dip. Renewal came with a stretching of the expectation. And because we stretched expectations, one of the contributing factors to our renewal in 2014, 15, that went on, and that prepared us to take advantage of the opportunities that came through COVID. After COVID, we're in another dip. And we looked at it and we said, you know, it is time to make this adjustment again. It's been about a decade. So I hope you can understand that one.
Okay, the next one.
A little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So we changed the policy that it was always, when you start, you get 20% commission. And when you reach $1,000 cumulatively in sales, then your commission would go to 25%. And we looked at the challenges that has caused for the organization as a whole. The attitudes between sponsors and new consultants, team leaders and the members of their team, how people are motivated, how people are stretching. And there were a few things that we could do. We looked at different options.
Well, and one of them, which we've done in the past when we've needed to make a change or a course correction, we have raised prices. And that was on the board. That was one of the ways that we could have made that course correction, is by raising prices.
Another thing we could have done is gone back to a cancellation policy that is, every 4 months you have to be active.
The reason why I believe they're saying that they could have raised the prices and all of that is so that the reps feel grateful that the prices were not raised, in my opinion. This manipulation tactic is very common in MLMs, where MLM owners make the reps feel grateful for something. You can see it in my Young Living video, where Mary Young was explaining that they had continued paying a bonus to some reps years after, when they had initially planned that bonus to be temporary, to make the reps feel grateful.
The Diamond Leadership Bonus was originally intended to be temporary, a bridge during the transition time, but all these years later, it is still being paid.
What are you saying, Mary? Should the reps feel grateful that you've been giving them the Diamond Leadership Bonus all of this time? Is that what you're saying? I'm asking. I'm not stating it as a fact. Or do you want the reps to kiss your ass? What is your point in saying that? Disgusting. Who was the person who was paying these bonuses? That's the person that you should be saying that to. Not the reps. It's not the reps' fault that you have incompetent people working in your company, in my opinion. Get a person who can take care of those bonuses the correct way so this doesn't happen again. As a CEO, you are not doing a very good job if you have a person in your company who has no clue what they're doing with the bonuses, in my opinion. You should feel ashamed of yourself, Mary. Excellence in a company starts at the top. We see this disgusting guilt trip in MLMs very often to make the reps believe that they should feel grateful for what they're getting, even though they're getting close to nothing in their paychecks for the majority of the reps across MLMs. Disgusting, Mary.
This is one of those things where it's really hard to understand this move. I think a lot of you are struggling with why we had to make this move. We didn't have to make it, why we chose to make this move. I think in 4 or 5 moves, in a few months ago, a few business chess moves away, you'll come back and say, oh, I get it. Now, if we explain to you all 5 of those moves, there are opponents that will then make an adjustment, and then that winning strategy no longer is a winning strategy because you're disclosing your hand, you're disclosing your moves. So we're not going to explain to you all of the iterations of the future that we think are going to happen, but we've been doing this for a while. We've been playing business chess for a while, and we've got a pretty good record. If you can't trust our ability to look into the future and see what's coming and make adjustments ahead of time, and those adjustments being made not to benefit us two, but to benefit consultants and their businesses, then either you're not paying attention, you don't know history, or you're just choosing not to trust us, which is okay. You don't have to trust us, but I don't think we've done anything that gives you reason not to trust us if you look back at what we've done over the last 20 years. And I know
our track record,
And the worst person, the person that you should trust least is the one that says you can trust me. I get that.
These changes are not to benefit the consultants or the customers, in my opinion. These are to benefit you and the company. Stop it with the... If you were really looking out for the best interest of the consultants, first of all, you would not have started an MLM. If you care about your consultants so much, you would be giving them a livable wage with benefits and even bonuses, not an MLM model where, according to your own income disclosure statement, consultants are making from $58 to $324 annually. When you are looking at an income disclosure statement, always look for the medium. That is the most realistic outcome. MLMs make income disclosure statements look confusing with so many numbers, but you can always find the realistic outcome with the medium, not the average, the medium.
But, let our actions speak. Give it some time if you're really struggling with this. More adjustments can be made. The point of this whole thing is there are principles at play, and these principles are things that have guided Scentsy from the beginning, and they always will. Should we go about? Yeah.
Sure.
There's a couple of principles that are super important.
The first principle that I can think of is the huge one behind Scentsy, contribute more than you take.
Don't get me started with this. Contribute more than you take. Just like I shared in my previous Scentsy video, this starts to normalize to reps that they should contribute more than they take. The way I understand this is they want the reps to spend more money even if they're not getting a lot in return. So disgusting.
It is a motto. And here's the thing about it. Contribute more than you take is an internal motivation. It's about what do I need to contribute to the community that supports me, more than what am I entitled to from the community that supports me.
Which is kind of something else that I know has been said many times, but we leave people, we leave things, places better than when we found them. Yeah.
Contributing more to you than we take from you is our business, right? That's up to us. to make that math or do that math in our head and make sure that we are contributing more to your life than we are taking from it.
If these clowns were really contributing more to their consultants than what they're taking from them, the income disclosure statement from Scentsy would look very, very different.
There are times where we may make a decision that we think is going to be okay, and we realize it's not. And we have actually harmed people by the decision we've made. What do? We correct it so that we can stay positive in that bank account. Right? That emotional bank account where we've contributed more than we take. We have to be convinced in our own hearts that we've done more for you than we've taken from you. Otherwise, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
That's a mindset.
Yeah.
And that's a mindset we've always had.
Somebody saying, arrows out, arrows out. A lot of you that are new might not know arrows out, but it is exactly contribute more than you take goes right along with arrows out.
Yes. Now, an arrows in approach is,
what about me?
you said to contribute more you take. You're taking from me. I'm not getting what I'm entitled to.
What they're doing here, in my opinion, is making the consultants feel guilty for wanting more money. They're trying to paint the consultants who ask for more money as quote unquote entitled. And if you are a Scentsy consultant watching this video, you deserve to get paid for your time. You deserve to get paid for your effort. You deserve to get paid for your creativity spent. You deserve compensation. And that has nothing to do with entitlement. It is just the fair thing to do. If they really cared about their consultants, they would at least be fair with them.
Right? That right there is a kryptonite nugget for the Scentsy Spirit community, or the community of Scentsy Spirit. That was kind of awkward way of saying it.
But yeah, I love it.
If we get to the point where it's about us, whether we're talking Heidi and Orville or whether we're talking you, brand new consultant, then the thing that attracts people to Scentsy goes away. I mean, the products are great. We love our products. We'll talk about some of them.
Are we?
That are coming. Yeah.
Talk about some of them? Cool. Okay.
But that's not what people come to Scentsy for. People come to Scentsy because there is a community that is striving to give more to me than it takes from me. And that's a wonderful place to be. And people that find that reciprocal respect and love, they're upset when...
It makes me think... Sorry. Go
No,
finish.
you go. I'm just saying that people that find that, they're Scentsy lifers, whether they sell or not. They still want to be part of a community because that community is one that supports and loves them. And they can trust if I give my best, there's going to be so many people that are trying to one-up me in goodness. I'll be taken care of.
It makes me think of the quote. I'm going to say it wrong, but you like help others get where they want to go first, and then you'll go right along with them. So it is all about helping others and lifting others.
This is just a core principle that has guided Scentsy from the very beginning. Now, when we lose that principle, let me put it this way. If we see that a core principle is, people are drifting from a core Scentsy principle and we don't make corrective action, then that principle becomes meaningless. Right?
Yeah. And I have to say I'm proud of all of you in the Scentsy community and how you do lift each other up and help each other. I know several people in Scentsy right now who are struggling, who might even have terminal illnesses, and I've seen you all step up and love them and help them.
Here goes the emotional manipulation. Rolling my eyes. This lady crying with no tears, trying her best to cause sympathy. I cannot feel sorry for these clowns when I have heard so many heartbreaking stories from MLM reps where people have lost everything because they truly believe that the MLMs were going to change their lives and solve their problems. All my sympathy goes out to all of those people who were brave enough to share their story. You can Google MLM horror story and any MLM name next to it, and I'm positive that you're going to find someone sharing their experience with that specific MLM. Lady, let me get the file in for you.
So
we hear all the time that I went through a really rough patch, and it was my Scentsy family, my sponsor, my teamies, my
dinner,
director
came and sat by me in the hospital.
That's what got me through.
Every day.
Right? It's because we're trying to create an environment where we love one another, We mourn with those who are mourning. We cheer on those who are doing well. But we make sure that we're carrying our own weight. Now, with that principle in mind, well, there's another principle that I picked up.
You said 3, and we've only done 1, so.
Maybe we'll only get to 2. But
okay.
The second one is, it's kind of a deep concept. And Heidi, if I'm going too deep, just say, I don't even understand that, or what are you talking about?
Well, I don't play chess, so.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is, like, when someone does something that benefits Scentsy, they derive a right to what Scentsy produces, proportional to their contribution. If you contribute a lot to Scentsy, you have a natural right to a lot from Scentsy. If you contribute a little to Scentsy, you have the natural right to get a little bit back from Scentsy. If you take from Scentsy and you harm others because, you defame or lie about, or whatever the case may be, then Scentsy has an obligation to make you stop.
Is that a threat, Orwell? I'm asking, not stating it as a fact. This is very interesting. I wonder how Scentsy is planning to make those people, quote unquote, stop. I believe someone said they are Mormons. I'm not Mormon, so I'm not familiar with their teachings. So I Googled Mormons and forgiveness, and this is what I found. And I quote, "Forgiveness is a central tenet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mormons believe that forgiveness is a divine attribute and a commandment from God," end quote. So if that was a threat, I wonder what the church would think about this behavior. I want to make it clear that I have no issues with Mormons or any religion for that matter, and I know for sure that not all Mormons act like these two people. I want you all to also keep in mind that the fact that some people are Mormon or any other religion for that matter, that's not a guarantee that they're good people. We have seen it, and you can just look in the news how many things has been exposed, and not just from the Mormon community, from different types of religions. So the fact that somebody is from a certain religion, that doesn't mean that they cannot do no harm. And we see this very often in MLMs, that they use religion to manipulate the reps so that the reps can be like, oh, this person is Mormon. He wouldn't lie to us, right? This person is a Christian. I don't think they will lie to me. But the reality is very different, especially when we're talking about MLMs. So always use critical thinking. If the behavior doesn't match the teachings of whatever religion it is, red flag.
And, well, I don't want to go there. Just keeping it positive. If you do something that contributes to Scentsy, you deserve a right that's proportional to that. Our job at the home office, Heidi's my primary job, is to distribute what Scentsy produces in a way that those who have contributed are fairly compensated, and that there aren't those who get more than what they have contributed. Does that make sense? If you've given a lot to Scentsy, Scentsy owes you a lot. If you haven't given much, if you've given a little to Scentsy, Scentsy owes you a little. The better Heidi and I are, and then by extension, Dan and the rest of the team, at making sure that those who are getting from Scentsy is in line with what they have a natural right to, then Scentsy will flourish. If we give to one group more than what they are entitled to, based upon or what their natural right is, then somebody's going to be without. So we're always in a balancing situation. How do we protect the rights of those who give a lot and make sure they get their fair share? And how do we encourage those who aren't giving much to give more so that they can derive more benefit? So that's always a puzzle piece that we're playing. That's a principle that guides us. I might have to decode that some other time because that's pretty heavy stuff. But.
Very heavy. We have some people that are like, I don't want to hear this. I want to see what I came to see.
Let me give you one example on that.
Hey.
Okay, one of the challenges that Scentsy people experience, if you're a customer on here for the first time, or if you are a long-time Scentsy consultant, there are times when we have a limited time offering, right? And let's say that you have been a solid consultant your entire year. You've put in mini parties, you've brought in lots of hosts, you're sponsoring people, you're helping those people, and here comes an LTO that everybody wants. And you have your customers that you've been supporting all year long.
Wait, this does really happen.
Yes.
This really happens.
You have customers you're supporting all year long. And when the LTO comes out, you don't get to support your customers that have been supporting you because we run out too soon. Why? There is a very large group of Scentsy consultants who don't do anything until there is a gimme product. An LTO that is so compelling, it's easy to sell. That's the only time they engage. Now, we're going to sell out no matter what. It has nothing to do with our property rights here. Nothing to do with what is going to come into our pocket or what's going to make a difference in the home office. But those consultants who have worked day in and day out and have taken care of their teams, done everything we've asked for them, they're the ones that are harmed when people that haven't done much come in and get that LTO and it sells out. So how do we balance that? Do we say, unless you're active, you can't participate in LTOs? Right? Now, my whole point in bringing this up, and we decided not to do that. That's some background as to why we might have done what we did, right?
Not announcing that.
What we're trying to do is encourage those that is stretching those that to contribute more so that we can give more, and protecting those that are already giving a lot. And that's just one example as to something that we needed to balance by these changes.
But when the consultants are pitching the business opportunity, they say that the people can work as little or as much as they want. And now you're complaining because some consultants just show up from time to time when there is a product that they're interested in. Like, make up your mind or talk to the consultant so that they can modify their pitch and make it more realistic. Oh, they cannot do that, right? Because if the pitch is more realistic, nobody will want to join Scentsy because so many people don't want to be pushed to do things they don't want to do.
A couple things that I saw as things were
As I was just talking and talking and talking.
But it was good. And I've seen a lot of people like, come on, get off your soapbox.
Really? I'm so sorry.
This is how we used to do end of month lives. Is we would come on here, we would congratulate all of those that promoted, who earned the trips, woohoo, and call out people's names. That's how we did it. And like I said earlier at the beginning, Dan and everybody he invited on maybe did it a little differently. And so this is gonna feel different for sure.
Well, and if you're gonna build a culture,
yes,
you have to teach principles on how to build a culture.
Yes. And you have to hear the stories. Wouldn't you not be how do you say that? If you didn't know the Scentsy stories, you belong to this company, you need to know the stories that have happened throughout the years, and so because you are part of the Scentsy family, so
it's not just about selling products.
It's not.
If it was, then I wouldn't be here.
Well, I wouldn't either.
Oh, we know it's not just about selling the product. You know, a lot of things may not be clear, but you can be sure that one thing we have 100% clear is not just about selling the product.
A few moments later.
Okay, so January.
Okay.
Some seeds
January,
of improvement.
yeah, that show that we're starting down a good path of momentum. January was the second best recruiting month in the last 15 months. And it was a January. January is always a not so good month. So, woohoo!
And
awesome! Everyone who recruited, way to go!
Mexico had its second best recruiting month ever.
Ooh, yeah.
For a January, ahead of a transition month, which a lot of people wait for a transition month. And we'll talk about the transition month kit coming up in a second.
Yeah. So, way to go. That's awesome.
We don't have today's numbers in yet, but everything was projecting.
January revenue will finish up 21% from January 2019.
This is so interesting. Why compare January 2025 to January 2019? That doesn't make sense at all. I really would like to know why they're not comparing it to last year's January. Could it be because, according to Business for Home, the revenue went down? If they're so transparent, why not compare them with last January and share the numbers? I'm asking a question. I believe they're doing this comparison intentionally to deceive the consultants. That is my opinion.
Now, why do we use 2019?
Why do you
Because
think? I know.
2020 was COVID. It was crazy times, right? We
kind of have to not even look at those 2 years. They kind of were an anomaly, and then
coming down.
Yeah, and then coming down. Yeah.
So a lot of people that have only started in 2020 and on, their reality was this this COVID reality that was interesting. One, Scentsy was able to operate when a lot of companies couldn't. Two, We had a consumable product that was a nesting product and everyone was stuck in their home. 3, there was government money flowing around to help people that were stuck at home. 4, they weren't working, so they could become a Scentsy consultant and make a little extra money while they were at home. There were all kinds of factors that really pushed sales up during COVID. Then afterwards, we've been coming back down to a reality. And our reality is about what it was 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yep.
Slight improvements every year, but a very stable, healthy growth. And
Which
I think
was what, like 400 and something?
between 450 and 500 million,
Yeah.
with the opportunity to take advantage of something that might come up. So we're right in that sweet spot right now, looking for growth in 2015. We have lots of signs. Particularly, we're ahead of 2019 by quite a ways in recruiting and in sales this month. We'll finish just over about $37 million in sales for the month.
Which will match the best ever before 2020 January.
Yeah, pre-COVID January.
Pre-COVID January.
So it's the best January we've had without the asterisks.
Woohoo! Yeah. And again, if January wasn't your month for recruiting, guess what? There's February starting tomorrow. So
Yes. Here's an interesting stat. Essential consultants are brand new consultants. So we had a lot of recruiting going on this month, a lot of sponsoring, a lot of new consultants this month. And our sales by essential consultants generated 6.36% of all sales for the business. Back in 2024, a year ago, that was only 2.6%. So new consultants, not only we're getting more of them, but they are starting off stronger than new consultants have started off in months past. So that's another good sign.
Good. We're going to talk about it. Okay. Did you say this?
Yep.
Okay. The flash sale on January 23rd this month was the 33rd. This is kind of odd, but the 33rd best day ever in Scentsy's history. The 33rd best day ever. That's kind of a weird number, but I mean, we are counting.
20 years,
so
what is
that's
it?
cool.
73.
How many days?
10 years would be 3,600, 7,000. We've had like 8,000 days, maybe
So
9,000.
That's in the top 33rd.
8,000 days. Wait. Yeah, about 8,000 days. That's doing quick math while on a video, so don't shoot
hold
me if
them
I'm
to
wrong. 33rd out of 8,000. That's a pretty high percentage.
That's pretty good. And it's the third best ever when judged against a pre-COVID January 2020 days. So,
Okay.
woohoo!
There's some categories that are also really taking off.
And
growing.
I'm just going to say too, we had a few people message us about that flash sale. And actually, they were saying, "Can you please keep it going over the weekend?" But just like why it was so good, and got a lot of good answers back for why it was such a good sale. And so that will be definitely something we look to in future flash sales. So
Yeah. Pods and pod diffusers are doing really well. They're growing considerably. So there are pockets of growth here and there within the product categories that we have. And I guess the reason we're talking about this and why we're going back to pre-COVID days is whether you are winning or losing, a lot of times has to do with what you are comparing yourself against. If you're comparing yourself to others, you're going to find somebody that does things so well, you're going to feel like a loser all the time. You can't compare yourself to other people, but you can compare yourself to your past self. And as Scentsy, as a company, comparing ourselves to the past is very powerful, particularly if you can get out all the noise of an irrational and temporary black swan event like COVID. So we have a lot going for us compared to the last time we were in a normal environment. And there's a lot of reasons to be really excited about what's happening instead of, oh no, the world is falling because this company just went affiliate and that company went out of business and this company is going down and the whole channel's going to die. No, it's not. It's not direct selling companies going out of business. It's businesses going out of business. If you owned a restaurant, it'd be, oh man, that neighbor lost his restaurant, that company went out of business, this restaurant closed. Maybe restaurants are going to go away.
I'm going to say
no, they're
something
not.
here too.
This is comparison. It's not the same thing. Comparing MLMs with restaurants is absurd. The restaurants are not promising that you're going to have financial freedom. And restaurants are not recruiting other people to also own restaurants. And your income does not increase the more restaurants that you recruit. The comparison is ridiculous. And this clown knows it, in my fucking opinion. You guys heard it directly from other MLM CEOs. What is happening behind the scenes with MLMs. And there is so much more that is happening that we, the anti-MLM movement, are aware of. If these pair of clowns want to continue being delusional, it's up to them. But I hope you can see the reality of what is happening here. Look at the graph. Look at the numbers. Listen to the MLM CEOs from other companies. They have no reason to make all of that stuff up. In my opinion, the Scentsy owners have a motive because they benefit from you being in their company. They don't want their consultants to leave, which is why they're saying all of this to convince you to stay. I hope you're able to see through all of this.
People in direct selling are changing to affiliate because their consultants' behavior has changed.
Here's my so it's the MLM's reps' fault now. You should be ashamed of yourself, lady. At the same time, I'm not surprised. What can we expect from MLM owners? All they do is blame the reps all the time. MLM owners and MLM CEOs can never take any accountability for anything because it is never the MLM model. It is not that the MLM is set up in a way that only the people at the top make livable money. It could never be the MLM structure and the MLM founders. They could do no wrong, never. This is the reality of multi-level marketing and why we raise awareness on the dangers of MLMs because of clowns like these two. This is sick.
That's why. So I think that's something that you all need to remember. You are independent consultants. You own your own business, and you have to remember the behaviors that got you to where each advancement.
And those of you who are just starting have to say, I really want this to bless my life. What do I have to do for it to bless my life? What activities do I have to engage in? And if the only activity that you are relying on to change your future is to post and pray that somebody reads your post, that might have worked when
during COVID
everyone was online and there were very few people posting. But now when few people are online and everybody's posting the same thing, that dog don't hunt anymore. Or not as much. So you have to say, what in this environment must I do if I want to change my future?
I remember, I won't say her name on here, but I remember one time talking to a consultant and about, because lots of other people were saying, oh, my business is down, my business is down. And she saying, I looked at all through the years and my
15 plus?
Yeah, 15 plus years. She's been with us for a very long time. My business isn't down. And so
didn't she say, I've never been down.
I've never been down.
Had a dip.
And so it is how your behaviors.
Yeah.
It is. So
now that's not,
but it's also on us. It is on what we put out, our product that we put out, and we do have our share in it also. So I'm not saying it's all on you.
Did you see that? In my opinion, she realized how he sounded by blaming it completely on the reps, and that's why we see her trying to fix it. But no, lady, crybaby lady, you cannot fix what you said because we saw what you said with your whole chest, blaming the reps' behavior. That's nasty.
And there's wins in our face and there's wins in our back. I mean, when millennials who had extreme nostalgia for the days when their parents bought a VHS tape of a Disney movie that came out of the vault.
Yeah.
And now they're adults with children and Disney's coming out with remakes of those movies and we can come with product that will align with good movies one right after the other. That's wind at your back. We haven't had that for a while, right? One, we don't have the alignment of a demographic with a nostalgia, with something else going well. So we can do better. And the wind can shift, but even through all the different iterations of the wind, there are consultants who have never had a dip.
Yes.
Because they keep their mind in their boat, they keep focusing.
Mindset. It is your mindset.
And of course, we're not talking about those of you who have life-altering family situations, medical situations, and those situations we want to support you through, and that's when your Scentsy family love comes in to give you support until you get back on your feet or you're back in a better situation.
And it is mindset too. I will say that. But back to that, we are a team, Scentsy team, and so it takes all of us. It takes our side of Scentsy to come out with the right products and to help form this community. But then it also takes you. We need you. We need you.
This is very true what this lady is saying. They need you. And I wish all the Scentsy consultants knew that they hold so much power because you don't need Scentsy. Scentsy needs you because you are the only one that is putting money into the business. You're the one putting effort into the business. You're the one putting your time into the business. You are all you need.
Later.
When we measure our success, or how we measure our success, is how easily you can outdo what you could make in your next best alternative per hour. That make sense?
Yeah.
So if the best you've got is $8 an hour, and that's the job you've got, we're not promising you that you join Scentsy and you can become a millionaire. That's not what we're even trying to do. We're not trying to some get-rich-quick scheme here. What we're saying is our processes, our products, our programs that we're teaching will help you make far more than $8 an hour. If you're somebody that can make $150,000 an hour, then you can take your efforts, your intelligence, your background, your experience, and you can outdo $150,000 a year. And you can make more than $150,000 a year putting in similar efforts that you did in your other job. We are not saying that we can turn somebody into a hedge fund manager's salary if they were making $6 an hour. But we can make sure everybody can make more doing Scentsy than they can doing something else. And they can do that while taking care of their family. That's our commitment. And if that's not what your experience, you need to engage in the training and the support that we have available so you can learn how to do that. Right? 1 hour, you should be able to sell $50 with 1 hour of concerted effort. We can teach you how to do that.
Well, and we plan to teach you.
Yeah, and that's going to make, and that's anybody can do that if you engage in the training and you do what we say.
Orville, stop it with the stop it with the If people can't make that kind of money, why not put it in the income disclosure statement? Why does your income disclosure statement state that the medium, which is the most realistic outcome, is from $58 to $324 annually? Also, the same direct selling association that Scentsy is such a proud member of states that most MLM reps make $1,200 per year, $100 per month, and $25 per week, without counting the expenses and additional fees, according to the letter that the FTC sent to the DSSRC, which is part of the same DSA. And I quote, the Direct Selling Association has made statements acknowledging that at best most MLM participants make modest or supplemental income, and the DSSRC's guidance encourage MLMs to say in the income disclosure statements that most participants make modest or supplemental income. When I posed a question about what their phrase means to Adolfo Franco, DSA Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at DSA September 2023 Legal and Regulatory Seminar, I recall he said $1,200 per year. I then responded by pointing out that such a sum translates to $100 per month and $25 per week. I'm very skeptical that potential participants will take away from a claim of modest or supplemental income that they will earn only $25 per week. Furthermore, in my exchange with Mr. Franco at the 2023 Regulatory Seminar, we did not dig into the additional questions of whether the amount he cited is gross or net. If it is gross, as I suspect, then there is a further problem with this claim. It does not account for expenses such as costs for product purchases, travel for conferences, tools or services, and training. Taken together, such costs could completely offset the typical participant's income or leave that participant with a net loss. End quote. I will leave the letter also in the description below so you can read it in full and see that I'm not making it up. This letter was sent from the FTC to the DSSRC, which is part of the DSA, and Scentsy is part of the DSA.
One eternity later.
I want to brag on somebody. This is a doctoral dissertation from Baylor University.
Woohoo! Yeah,
And
she's on the call. I hope you're hearing this.
Not many companies have, as the person leading their training and development, a Ph.D. whose doctoral dissertation was about direct selling. Deb Bowden is not only a consummate professional, and somebody who really knows her stuff from a communications and a training and a curriculum development point of view, but she knows direct selling. I mean, she's got a PhD in it.
She does, and this
Literally,
is
a PhD.
published piece.
So she knows you. She gets
Yeah.
you. She knows how to help you reach your goals. But you got to plug in and listen to her and her team. And if you're struggling, wondering, how am I going to be active at 250 when I could barely be active at 200?
Yeah.
You're not in that challenge alone. We're not here so that you can go sell so that we can make money.
The audacity of this clown to say that they're not here to make money. If that was the case, why didn't you start a nonprofit if it's not about you making money? I would like to know.
If this was about money, we could have sold this company so long ago for so much more money than we will make year after year in profits.
Very true. Very true.
Anybody who thinks this is about money for us, just one, you don't understand money. Two, you don't understand business. And three, you don't understand us. Flat out. The only reason we are interested in doing this is because we love helping people succeed.
Fuck that. Sorry, I have to say it right now. Fuck that shit. Get the fuck out. That's bullshit. Okay? It pisses me off. Okay, Nippy, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you got it.
Setting goals and achieving those goals, becoming better versions of themselves. And we have assembled the very best team we can to help you become a better version of yourself through owning your own business.
What year was it? Like 2000 what? When they came and offered us a
2012.
ton of money. A ton of money.
I'll tell you, it was $750 million.
And we could have signed that deal and walked away.
I don't believe that story, not for 1 second. Because one thing that we know from MLM owners is that they will go where the money is. If that story was even true, in my opinion, they probably didn't accept the money because they're so arrogant that they probably thought they deserve a lot more money. Not because of the consultants, in my opinion. I will have to see documents and then talk to the person who offered them that money in order to believe that story. In my opinion, it's just another tactic, just like the previous one, so that the consultants feel grateful to them. Disgusting.
It'll take us probably another 20 years to make that much money.
No, I don't think so. We'll do the math.
Yeah.
But
we could have walked away in 2012.
Yep.
Had more money than any of our children's children would ever need.
If that story is true, you should have taken that money, and trust me, nobody would have missed Scentsy. Not one bit. There are so many companies and small businesses who offer the same products. Trust me, you are really not needed.
And we said no. 2 reasons. 1, we knew that Scentsy culture needed somebody to protect it. And people that got us out of debt deserved every bit of our effort as long as they were putting in effort.
Amen.
And we love
Amen.
seeing you succeed more than we love what we would have bought with that money. Plus, it was so much it would have ruined us.
That's the best part of Scentsy ever is watching you start as a new consultant and then advance and promote and change and grow. It's the best part ever.
And if you really want to figure out how to do that, plug into the training and development that's offered to you by world-class training and development, a world-class training and development team. Spend the time to be challenged by them and to respond to those challenges, and you will see your business and your life expand in ways that currently you don't think are possible. But I know they're possible because I've seen people just like you improve their own version of themselves and their own opinion of themselves because they just did it.
So, Deb, we love you. You're amazing. We are so blessed every day that you're a part of the Scentsy family. Every day. We just appreciate you and love you. Thank you.
And that extends to everyone on the call. Yep. Everyone who has ever been part of Scentsy.
Love you.
Everyone who buys our products. Everyone who sells our products. Everyone who engages with one another in love and kindness. And even those of you who don't understand how life works and the only outlet you have is to trash on others that are trying to do a good thing. Even you, we appreciate your passion and your desire to make the world a better place.
First of all, if you're talking about the anti-MLM movement, we're not trashing on others. We're holding MLMs accountable, which is very different. Second, thanks. I am very passionate, and I do want to make the world a better place without MLMs. And with reps getting paid what they deserve for their work.
One of the things that they talked about in the Boys in the Boat book was how the rowers, when they were in the boat, they would kind of say MIB, mind in boat, MIB, mind in boat.
Don't worry about the distractions.
Yeah, there's going to be distractions everywhere. There's going to be things that are said, and you just keep your mind in the boat. And how you feel says a lot. And so go with your heart on how you feel.
In my opinion, what they're trying to do here is to tell reps to not pay attention to other distractions, meaning don't listen to the haters online, because when reps start listening to us, they're going to see that we're not haters and we're just sharing facts, and the reps could start to critically think, and that is something that no MLM owner wants. They don't want the consultants to critically think, because the more they do, they will realize they don't need Scentsy. If you want to know my thoughts, personal predictions about Scentsy and Scentsy alternatives, I shared all of that in my previous Scentsy video. If you want to check it out, this video was my opinion and for educational and entertainment purposes. I'll leave all my sources in the description below. Like I always say, don't believe everything that people say. Question everything and everyone, including me. Let the evidence tell you what's real or not. Please don't reach out to anybody in this video. I don't condone harassment of any kind. It means a lot that you took the time to watch my video. Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me to know what kind of content you like to see more of. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who might need it. Help us reach more people. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing for more anti-MLM content. And the best thing about YouTube videos is the comments. So feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. This also helps the algorithm reach more viewers. As you all know, this is a brand new channel. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Until next time, take care and stay safe.